amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. It is time for another exciting edition of, you guessed it, the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Now get ready for liftoff.
9, 8, 7.
Come on,
6,
folks.
5.
All
4,
aboard.
3, 2.
Lots
1,
to learn today.
0. Ignition.
Plus, we're going to hear from our fellow students.
30 minutes after the hour.
Here we go.
Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hats. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time. On Vaughn Radio. Come on. It's a show with no name.
Let's go. Go, go, go. Welcome, show with no namers. That's for you. Thank you for joining us every day here on the show with no name. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you for the next 2 hours, teaching you English, learning, laughing, and sharing. And don't forget, you've got amazing programs all afternoon long and all evening long. Here, all you have to do is download the free Vaughn Radio app. It's free, that's right. And you can learn English every single day, hours and hours of English at your fingertips. So download the app and learn a little bit every day. Because remember, this is a process. It's about consistency. It's about doing as much as you can each day so that by the end of the year, you're like, wow, I know a lot more stuff than I knew last year or at the end of the month. But sometimes in the process, we don't feel our progress, right? It's not until we have a little bit of hindsight, a little bit of retrospect, if you will. And we can look back and say, bueno, I do it with my daughter. She's like, Dad, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't know how to swim. You didn't know how to speak English. You didn't know how to speak Spanish. You didn't know how to do math. You didn't know how to do this, that, the other thing. And now she knows how to do all those things. But sometimes in the moment, when we're, in the thick of it, in todo el meollo ahí, when we're in the thick of it, we can get frustrated because you don't normally feel your progress on a daily basis. You feel it usually when you look back. Think about it like when you're growing, when you're a young kid. You don't see yourself growing. And in fact, the people who live with you, they don't really see your growth. And when I mean growth, I mean literally creciendo unos centímetros. I mean like literal growth. But people who don't see you often are saying, wow, Lara, you've gotten a lot taller. Of course, because we see it every day as her parents. But people who don't see her as often will definitely see that growth. And again, like many things, you can apply that to almost any situation on earth. So folks, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. As I said, today we're going to be hearing from your fellow students, Chris Valrol, Alberto, Cristina Chicago, Anix, Born to Ironman, and Nudia. And they're going to tell us how they try to inspire others. That's right, how they try to inspire others. So we'll be finding lots of inspiration in today's show. But let's kick things off with our first challenge, the Say What soundbite. Come on.
Say what? What?
That's right, folks. This is your Say What soundbite. It's a listening exercise, an exercise in taking dictation, also an exercise in summing things up. So we're practicing a couple different skills here. We're killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Yeah, normally you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, in this exercise, we're killing 3. Like when I work with my students, when we work on irregular verbs, you know what I do? I'm like, well, ya que estamos, practicamos phrasal verbs, right? Entonces, en vez de hacer draw, dibujar, uso draw up, redactar. So this way, the student is practicing conjugation of irregular verbs, but we make them phrasal verbs. So it's like doubling up on a lesson. And I like to do that for the sake of time, por el bien de tiempo. As you guys know, it seems like 2 hours is a long period of time until we realize, oh my God, we've got 5 minutes left here and we have to rush. Also, let me give you guys next week's question of the week, which remember, we're doing on Thursdays for the time being, until further notice, como decimos, hasta que te diga otra noticia. Until further notice, we'll be doing it on Thursdays. Now, this last month, we've been doing a lot of soul searching. Well, I figured we could make this next one very ordinary, very normal. And it's a good thing, too, to be able to do, and that is, what do you usually do on the weekend? The British say at the weekend. What do you usually do? What's a typical weekend like for you? Now, some of you might work on the weekends. I work a lot of times on the weekends, mornings at least. I don't normally work weekends, afternoon weekends, but mornings I usually put in a few hours. So what do you usually do on the weekend? What would be a typical weekend for you? You don't have to do much soul searching, but it's good to be able to talk about the activities, the habits that you engage in, right? It's good to be able to talk about yourself in the end. So it's not a tough one, but also you got to make it interesting. You can't be like, well, I just sit there and scratch my belly. Me rasco la tripa. Okay, you can do it, but you can make that interesting. So that's the goal this week. Or maybe not. You want to show us how mundane, ordinario, your weekends are. Well, that's up to you. Remember, you can send a 1-minute voice note. You can send it to aalonso@grupovon.com. That's my email address. Jot it down. Alonso, eso es 2 A's. Alonso@grupovon.com. Keep it at around a minute, as you know, and tell us what you usually do on the weekend, or if you're British, at the weekend. All right. And we look forward to hearing from you as always. It's our question of the week, and it's an opportunity for you to not just practice your speaking every week, but to also get some feedback based on the way you speak or the vocabulary you use or any other observation that I can give you to help you advance in this area. Plus, as we say, always, and I said it yesterday as well, this is also a chance for you to work on self-confidence. Obviously, the more you practice, the more you speak, the easier it's going to be. There's no secret there. All right, so let's take a look at today's Say What soundbite. As always, it's a small, short little audio clip. Usually it's no longer than 15 seconds, usually around 10 seconds or so. And, well, it's in a different situation. Sometimes it's from a movie. Yesterday we took a look at Goonies, one of my favorite movies ever. Sometimes it's somebody in an interview. Sometimes it's a comedy sketch. So, we're going to hear a bunch of different situations, a bunch of different accents. And what I want you to do is make some sense of it. All right? If YouTube lets you. Eso sí, si te permite YouTube. All right, are you guys ready? Here's your Say What soundbite for the first time. Pay attention.
Don't get cute, Alice. Don't get cute. I'm going to ask you several clear questions, and I want some clear answers. First question. Were we or were we not in a supermarket?
Alberto, estoy leyendo un cómic y me estoy dando cuenta de que todas las onomatopeyas que salen son verbos en inglés.
Of course, man. We love making it easy.
Por ejemplo, aquí pone chomp y está un animal masticando.
Sure, to chomp.
Es mascar, ¿no?
Sí, mascar. Y lo haces con tus piños. You're chompers.
Ah, chompers es los piños grandotes, ¿no? Vale, y to click, por ejemplo.
To click. Well, to click is what you do on a computer. You click. Pinchar.
Perfecto, pinchas con el ratón. Claro, tiene sentido. To gulp.
Well, before I was gulping my soda. Gulp, 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 gulp.
Claro, estás tragando como un pato.
Eso es, no es lo mismo que sip. Sorber.
Bien. To thump.
Thump. Don't thump your fist on the table. No des un pum, pum en la mesa.
De hecho, el conejito de Bambi se llamaba Thumper.
Eso es, todo tiene sentido en inglés.
Claro que sí, por eso hemos hecho el tercer libro de This Book is the Milk, que se llama This Book is the Shit. Este libro es la leche. Por Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
Así da gusto aprender. Y lo sabes.
And you know it. Yeah, folks, This Book is the Shit, and you can pick it up at Vaughn Tienda. Remember, our website is grupovaughn.com, and at our website, you can find a bunch of different information. In fact, let's go there right now. You know, that's the easiest way, grupovaughn.com, and enter. And look, mira, descubre nuestras promos, nuestros cursos recomendados. Oh, cool. So we've got a bunch of different promos going on. I know that we've got an open house. We don't say open door. You say open doors? Eso es un espanglicismo. Okay, we say an open house. In fact, maybe it's British. I've never heard open doors. We have an open doors. No, we have an open house. I think it's at Las Tablas. Don't quote me. No me cites. Just go to the website. It's grupovaughn.com. And you can find out more information about materials. We've got adult programs for young people, also for companies, schools. We're even involved in the AI game. Yeah, that's right. AI. Nosotros lo decimos al revés. So check it out if you're interested in perhaps learning with us. In fact, look, I just saw it right here. We've got a 30% discount on our cursos intensivos de inglés por semanas. Oh, see, I didn't know that. If I hadn't gone to the website, I wouldn't have known that. Toma, el pasado condicional. If I hadn't gone to the website, I wouldn't have, como lo pronunciaremos nosotros, known it. So yeah, a 30% discount. This is until March 15th, 2026. And I'll just read it. Ahora puedes comprar las semanas que quieras, tanto en Semana Santa y en verano. Tantas semanas como quieras. No se repite contenido. Los intensivos por semanas son uno de los favoritos de nuestros alumnos, ya que aprovechan las vacaciones y notan una gran mejora en su nivel de inglés en pocos días. So, if you want to get a 30% discount on this, classes, video conference classes, you got to take advantage of this before the 15th of March, 2026. Also, we've got another deal, 50% off, and this is on our English Online Advanced, el curso de autoestudio más potente del mercado, basado en el método Vaughan y elaborado por pedagogos. I hate that word. Me suena, I hate that word, sounds weird. Profesores expertos en formación en inglés. Un curso que no debes perderte si de verdad quieres aprender inglés a tu ritmo. It's 50% off, and you can figure it out. But guess what? That one is not until March, okay? So the 30% discount is until March 15th, and the 50% discount, which is on a different thing, is only until the 28th of February. So as you guys know, if you're listening live, February is almost over. So you've got very little time if you're interested in that. In fact, what I'll do here is I'm going to share this link with you in our virtual chat room. And this way, you guys can take a look at it on your own time, con tranquilidad, sin prisa. So again, por videoconferencia, that's with a teacher, okay? So that one is con profesor. That's a 30% discount. And if you're looking for a self-study course, as I said, we've got a 50% discount on that for the time being. And I don't see any other special deals right now, but also, I'm just looking at one page. I think the best thing that you can do is follow us on social media. And if you're following us on social media, then you'll know whatever our marketing department wants you to know. In fact, you'll probably know more than I do. Why? I don't follow. Well, the last thing I want to do if I'm looking at social media is see things that have to do with my company. It reminds me when I first started working here at Vaughn, I remember I was taking a little nap down in Almeria. I was with my grandma. God rest her soul, mi mama. We called her mama, aunque es mi abuela, but she was la mama, my dad's mom. And I remember I was taking a nap. It was after one of these big meals, and it was, Easter break, Semana Santa, and I was like, oh, yes, I'm far away from work. And then all of a sudden, I wake up and I hear, tell her to ask Paco and I'm like, oh my God, abuela, give me the remote. Dame el mando. And Richard Vaughn is a friend of mine, but there's a time and place for everything. And when I'm on vacation or just on my own time, no thanks. Naturally, right? But I'll never forget, it was like haunting me, persiguiéndome, like, tell him to ask her. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm going to explode. Here I am at the beach, far away from it all, and it just finds me somehow. That also happens when you're on TV and radio. And at that time, we were doing the Aprende Inglés TV. We had our own TV station, which was another breakthrough, un avance para una academia de inglés. So it's a wonderful thing. You can still catch some of our content, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I don't follow, so you guys will probably know more than I do. But we've got content, last I heard, lo último que sé yo, on Real Madrid TV. You can find the show Stuff and several other shows as well. And also, if you guys are on iVox, which is a Spanish podcast platform, I don't know. I've never used iVox, but I know it's extremely popular here. But you have an online course called Baugan Inglés 4.0, which you can do exclusively on iVox as well. And you can find all of our programs on all the different platforms. So you've got English everywhere, whether you're looking for courses, self-study courses, you're looking for your own teacher, you're looking for group classes, something for the kids, or just some materials for your journey, your English journey, tu cruzada de inglés. Well, you'll find it all at grupovon.com. All right, let's keep it moving along because we've got tons of stuff to do here. Let's get right into our pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. That's right, amigos. It is our pop quiz, and this is our translation booklet that we're going to take a look at today. This is one of the weapons, eso es, armas, that we have in our collection as a Vaughn teacher. And the translation booklet has thousands of phrases. That's right, thousands of phrases, and they are the phrases you will need to know if you'd like to learn English, and all those different things that you need to know, structures, vocabulary, and all that jazz. So, as always, I want you to listen carefully, and afterwards, I'll ask you a couple questions based on what you heard. Here's a little excerpt from our translation booklet.
Translation List 12.
Ya tenemos un pedido de China.
We already have an order from China.
Tenemos que enviar 1 millón de frascos para dentro de un mes.
We have to ship 1 million bottles within a month.
¿Los tenéis en stock?
Do you have them in stock?
No los hemos empezado a fabricar aún.
We haven't started producing them yet.
¿Estáis locos? ¿Cómo vais a fabricarlos?
You're crazy. How are you going to produce them?
Por eso te he llamado.
That's why I called you.
¿Qué tengo yo que ver con esto?
What do I have to do with this?
Pensé que a lo mejor querrías ayudarnos.
I thought you might want to help us.
¿Ayudaros a hacer qué?
Help you do what?
A financiar la producción.
To finance the production.
¿Desde cuándo soy yo un banco?
Since when am I a bank?
Pero tienes mucho dinero.
But you have a lot of money.
Pero no para tus ideas locas.
But not for your crazy ideas.
¿Sabes cuántos chinos son calvos?
Do you know how many Chinese people are bald?
340 millones de chinos querrán nuestro producto.
340 million Chinese people will want our product.
Multiplica eso por $3 por frasco.
Multiply that by $3 a bottle.
¿Cuánto dinero crees que necesitaréis?
How much money do you think you'll need?
80.000 pavos.
80,000 bucks, or 80,000 quid.
Bueno, veré lo que puedo hacer.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
Pero estás forrado.
But you're filthy rich.
Puedes conseguir el dinero en 1 hora.
You can get the money in an hour.
Oye, el dinero no crece en los árboles.
Hey, money doesn't grow on trees.
Tengo que consultarlo con mi asesor fiscal.
I have to consult my tax advisor.
¿Qué tiene él que ver con esto?
What does he have to do with this?
No puedo darte 80.000 pavos así por las buenas.
I can't give you 80,000 bucks just like that. Or, I can't give you 80,000 quid just like that.
Translation List 13.
¿Cómo te sientes siendo millonario?
How does it feel to be a millionaire?
Igual que siempre.
I feel the same as always.
Creí que tendría más tiempo libre.
I thought I'd have more free time.
¿Te das cuenta ahora?
Now do you realize?
Los ricos tienen problemas también.
Rich people have problems too.
Pero es mejor que ser pobre.
But it's better than being poor.
Tal vez, pero no estoy tan seguro.
Maybe so, but I'm not so sure.
Has tenido mucho éxito.
You've been very successful.
Ahora que eres rico y famoso, ¿qué vas a hacer con tu vida?
Now that you're rich and famous, what are you going to do with your life?
Voy a realizar todos mis sueños.
I'm going to fulfill all my dreams.
No pierdas tu sentido de la orientación.
Don't lose your sense of direction.
El pavimento está resbaladizo.
The floor is slippery.
Te puedes resbalar fácilmente.
You can slip easily.
Besaos y haced las paces.
Kiss and make up.
Ella lleva mucho maquillaje.
She wears a lot of makeup.
¿Cómo puedo compensar lo que hice?
How can I make up for what I did?
Esta es una clase de recuperación.
This is a makeup class.
Él inventó una historia.
He made up a story.
Decídete.
Make up your mind.
El comité está compuesto por 3 personas.
The committee is made up of 3 people.
Tengo que recuperar el tiempo perdido.
I have to make up for lost time.
¿Cómo te lo puedo compensar?
How can I make it up to you?
Confeccionemos una lista de temas.
Let's make up a list of subjects.
Estoy completamente desmoralizado.
I'm completely demoralized.
¿Qué ocurre?
What's the matter?
All right, amigos, there you go. Wow, really good vocabulary in there. Vocabulary we need to know, as I said. We'll take a look at that when we come back from this quick commercial break. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. This is part 2 of today's show with no name here on Vaughn Radio. Thanks to all of you who join us every day. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us. Hablo en nombre de todos los locutores. It's a pleasure to have you with us, learning and laughing every day. And the good thing is, every show's different. If you can't stand me, si no me soportas, no problem. The rest of the day, you've got people who don't talk as much. Right? Who aren't blabbermouths, big mouths. I love it. I laugh because it would be foolish to think everybody likes you, right? In fact, if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong, right? So I get it. I get people be like, este es un yeah, that's me. You don't have to like me. It's okay. Well, when you're younger, you feel like everybody has to like you. That's the way life works, and it's not the way life works. And the sooner you realize, well, the people who like me, those are the ones. And the ones who don't, well, that's fine too. It's great. In fact, as I said, it's not realistic to think that everybody's going to get what you're doing, or even like, maybe it's a question of, I don't like the tone of voice. I don't like, this guy's always joking around. That's fine. It's like, if you don't like a program on TV, change the channel, right? Real simple. The good thing is I don't get a lot of negative comments. Occasionally, este tío es un bocazo. I'm like, yep, that's it. Good. You're so observant. Wow. Sherlock Holmes in the mo-fucking house. But it's cool. It's cool. But that's what I'm getting at. You got something for everybody. Maybe you prefer a more soothing voice. Well, you got Jules Linares. Or Chris Frank. Chris Frank, he's an interesting guy. He talks a lot. But he speaks very calmly, very, like this. And that's cool. Imagine if we all sounded the same. There wouldn't be any reason to listen to the other shows, would there? It would just be the same thing for 24 hours. So if you like a little bit of excitement, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of blah, 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 then this is the show for you. Also, if you like to be challenged and you want to learn real English, like the real stuff we're using, not the my tailor is rich and my mother is in the kitchen crap. Right? I'm talking about the real deal, Holyfield. All right, well, let's see. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, so why don't I give you the Say What soundbite? I'm going to give it to you right now for the second time. No, well, you know what? Well, let me give you the pop quiz, so this way you guys can start working on that and we can save some time. So the pop quiz, a synonym for crazy. Use it in context. A synonym for crazy. Hey, you can use me as an example. I get it. Okay, so a synonym for crazy. I know them in Spanish. Chiflado, como una cabra. Está. Sí, bueno, hasta ahí llego. Loco, chiflado, como una cabra. Está. Cuckoo? Do you say cuckoo? Bueno, te acabo de dar una. All right, a synonym for crazy, use it in context. Also, I'd like a synonym for filthy rich. Han dicho la palabra forrado, que filthy es sucio, ¿no? Pero cuando lo ponemos con la palabra rich, ya no tiene que ver con sucio. It's an interesting usage of that word. Because if I say your room is filthy, está hecho una pocilga, right? It's a pigsty, as we say. Okay, so that's number 2, a synonym for forrado. So we've got 2 synonyms there because I know you know crazy and I know you know filthy rich. So this is an opportunity to take a look at other ways to express these common adjectives. And the last one, we took a look at one of the most useful phrasal verbs in the English language. Why? Because it has like 25 million meanings, and I'm talking about make up. Okay. Now, I know a lot of my students, when they hear the word make up, they're like, oh, makeup, no, maquillaje. That's probably, unless you work as a makeup artist, you're probably not going to use that one very much, but you're going to use the other ones much more, no? Recuperar. So again, we heard several uses. What I would recommend is choose one that you're not really familiar with. And this way you can see if you're using it correctly, right? Aprovechar al máximo, hacer las paces, está compuesto de, as I said, there were many, many ones. Recuperar, amendar. So again, use the one that I think you're least familiar with, and this way we can see if you're using it correctly. All right? So number 1, synonym for crazy. Number 2, synonym for very rich, filthy rich. And the third one, give us one of the uses of make up in context. And hopefully we'll see a bunch of different synonyms and also a bunch of different uses of this word that can really help you because it has so many meanings. It kind of reminds me of get. Like, you need to know get. Why? Because, well, get is used in so many different phrasal verbs. It's used as the reflexive. Why do you always get sad? Why do you always get angry, right? So again, these are words that can either be our best friend or our worst foe. We looked at that word recently in a pop quiz as well. Foe is a synonym for enemy, pero mucho más fácil de decir. Foe, ¿no? Se escribe F-O-E. I'm going to give you the Say What soundbite. Here it is for the second time. Pay attention.
Don't get cute, Alice. Don't get cute. I'm going to ask you several clear questions, and I want some clear answers. First question. Were we or were we not in a supermarket?
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's part for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damián, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the Shit. That's right, folks. This book is the shit. It's available at Von Tienda and wherever fine books are sold. All right, folks. So what do we got going on here? Well, it's not This Book is the Shit. Not today. Okay, I promote my books, but I also promote our other materials as well. And the translation booklet is worth its weight in gold. You have thousands of different sentences with all the structures you'll need to get by in the language. And as you heard, it comes with audio, which is key. Eso es clave. Because if you don't have the audio, how do you know if you're pronouncing it correctly, right? So this is the way we know if we're pronouncing something correctly or not. By repeating, by imitating. I mean, I can't stress that enough. The importance of imitation when learning a language, right? I mean, it's the key. What do you think kids do when they're learning a language? And kids usually master a language faster than an adult. They're not thinking about grammar. They're not thinking about, este es el presente perfecto continuo o el presente pasado. No, they're thinking, ¿cómo era? ¿Era or okay, era okay, tengo que hacer el sonido ahí. Okay, all right, cool, got it, right? I think that's one of the magic things about kids. They don't ask. They're not trying to find a rhyme or reason to it. They're just saying, ¿se dice así? Perfecto, lo repito. When I know I've had students where I have to fight them that, sí, pero en español no se dice así. I'm like, ya lo sé. Por eso te lo estoy diciendo, pesado. You know, like, sí, pero en español es, yo estoy de acuerdo. I'm like, ya, y por eso te has equivocado. Porque estás pensando en español. Forget about Spanish. It's not going to help you in an English classroom. You know, it's just going to take you further out of the lesson. So I know you got to, as an adult, we've got to find, okay, but why? Make up a reason. Mira, acabamos de usar el make up sin querer, ¿ves? Para que veas si se usa mucho. To make up, invéntate. Make up a reason if you need one. And if not, just accept, pues se dice así y ya está. Again, we're not talking about, something like math. Math is 2 más 2 es 4, porque lo ves. 1, 2, pongo 4 trozos de papel, pues 2 más 2 es 4. There's the explanation is right there. You can see it. But sometimes it's as simple as, well, somebody decided when the English language was being created that we say it like that. That's it. There's no other deeper explanation to it than that, you know? Or when there's a difference between British English and American English. Well, in Britain, they got together and said that you would say the word bonnet para el capó del coche. And in the United States, we got together and said, no, we don't call it bonnet. We call it hood. Now, if you want, you can go back and see where it came from, but that's not important. What's important is that's how we say it. Now, I have to say, if we're talking about idiomatic expressions, then it's cool. Because usually by finding out the etymology, las raíces, the etymology, well, then it can help you kind of visualize it and say, por eso lo dicen, porque si tan, que tan, okay, ya lo he pillado. So sometimes it can help us when it comes time to remembering this, right? All right, let's see now. Some things we heard in this translation booklet. We heard the word bald. And how would you say then, se está volviendo calvo, ¿no? Se está haciendo calvo. No, está en el proceso, no es que está calvo. How would you say that? We would say he's going bald. to go bald, right? You could say getting bald también. Mira, el get otra vez. But also, he's blind. Lo mismo, lo aplicamos a eso. He's blind? No, but he's going blind. Eso es que está en el proceso de quedarse ciego. And all of these things, guys, as we get older, I think we're all going bald and going blind, right? Or losing our hearing. So to go bald, to go blind. Also, we looked at some slang over here. You say 20 turkeys, 20 pavos. We say 20 bucks or 20 quid if you're British. All right? I've heard that. I remember a lot of my friends. Y lo usan bastante, ¿eh? 20 quid, mate. Y nunca lo ponen en plural. Nosotros sí. Right? Sí, es plural. $1, $2. Right? But they always use it in singular. Así que un apunte ahí. Si lo vas a usar, 20 quid, not 20 quids. Okay? Also, I realized, and I just learned from the translation booklet, that you have the same idiomatic expression that parents say to kids all the time. Money doesn't grow on trees. That means you have to work for money. It doesn't just, show up in your bank account every month, unless you're filthy rich, que ahora vamos a ver unos sinónimos para eso. Also, tu consultor, your advisor. Cuidado con la pronunciación de financial, no es financial. I've heard people say finanzas, no? Financial advisor. I've heard people suavizarlo a financial, but not financial. Okay, so financial or financial. Los dos se aceptan, ¿no? Pero nunca fi. An advisor, lo sabes. Cualquier persona que ha usado TripAdvisor antes de irse de viaje, ¿qué hace? Te aconseja. So it gives you advice con C. Fijaos también cómo cambia. I'm going to advise, lo extiendo para que lo oigas. I'm going to advise you. I'm going to give you some advice. Otro error muy común. Nunca es advices. Es some advice. Si quieres ponerlo que sea contable, some pieces of advice, pero no hace falta. Okay? So advise versus advice. We also looked at slippery. Any Bon Jovi fans in the house? Slippery when wet. Yes, it's a sexual euphemism, in case you didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Slippery when wet, resbaladizo cuando moja. He's not talking about bridges. Pero en Estados Unidos, you'll see that's a very common road sign. Una señal de carretera. Slippery when wet. Muchas veces hablan de un puente. Okay? Slippery when wet. And the verb to slip. So it makes sense. If something is slippery, you could slip. Okay, no sleep, slip. No suenan igual. Okay, vamos a decir ambas. Slip, slip, slip. And the other one, sleep. Nadie tiene problema con esa. All right, so those are just a couple of things that I wanted to highlight from that little audio clip. Again, you can pick up this book. I don't know how much it is. I think it's like, I don't know, but it's cheap compared to all the different structures and vocabulary that you'll get out of it. All right. And as I said, it has downloadable audio, so you can make sure you're saying things correctly. And you can also study on the go. You take those MP3 files, you put them in your phone, and voila. You're on your next flight, or, your next time that you're waiting around. Oh, I've got a half an hour to kill. Tengo media hora hasta que salga mi hija. Well, you know what to do. You've got it already on hand. Remember, you've got to have your arsenal ready at all times. All right, let's go on over to our chat room and hope that you're not being censored. Oh, wow, Chris, you're allowed to say good morning. Wow, te dejan decir buenos días. Wow. The YouTube regime has allowed you to say good morning. How controversial. You say controvertido, we say controversial. Chris Valrol says, morning, folks. Morning to you, Chris. Wonderful to have you on board. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. And also Born to Iron Man, who's with us as well. He says, hiya, friends. Born to Iron Man. I know I've said this before, but when you say hiya, which is totally normal. You remind me of my grandpa. O sea, siempre me haces recordarme de mi abuelo. So thank you. He used to say, hiya, hiya, Bob, hiya. Es muy de señor, pero bueno, me encanta. I love it. Because again, it brings me down memory lane. Me hace rememorar ese hiya. It's funny how just one word can remind you of a person. You know, it's incredible. All right, let's see how you guys did on the Say What soundbite and in our pop quiz. Chris says, excuse me, ¿sabes lo que acabo de hacer? What did I just do? ¿Sabéis cómo se dice eso? Todo puede ser una lección. Hasta quitarte el pollo, you say? Well, we say to clear your throat, aclarar la garganta. So I just cleared my throat. All right, so Chris says, I heard an excerpt from a movie. It's, it's a sitcom, but same idea. Okay, es una serie, a sitcom. And an American man, yes, addresses some students or maybe employees and asks them questions about a supermarket. Great. Me encanta que has usado address. Se dirige a. Excellent. Excellent job, Chris. Spoken like a true native. I love it. All right, let's see. Also, we've got some students participating in our pop quiz. We're looking at some synonyms today and the many uses of makeup. Chris says, that man seems to be wacko, as mad as a hatter. Great, nos ha dado dos. Wacky, wacko, or as mad as a hatter. Me encanta esta palabra mad porque puede ser enfadado o loco. Y puede ser las dos. I am mad right now. Puede ser loco de enfado también. So, excellent. Pero claro, el momento que lo pones mad as a hatter, pues es una expresión totally native. All right, the next one, she says, he's also well-heeled. Muy bien, well-heeled. Con buenos tacones. So he can make up for being so rude. Así que puede amendar, ¿no? To make up for something is, well, he's ugly, but he's got charisma. So that makes up for it. Excellent job, Chris. Really good words there. De hecho, wacko lo usaban muchas veces. Era el mote, the nickname that they gave to Michael Jackson. Wacko Jacko lo llamaban. Seguro que si googleas Wacko Jacko, dices, oh my God. All right, so great job. Well-heeled. También se dice well-to-do. Bueno para hacer. ¿Sabíais? Well-to-do, adinerado. He comes from a well-to-do neighborhood. All right, let's see. Born to Iron Man's got something to say about it as well. He says, the show with no name is the best wacky show you can enjoy. Thank you. It is wacky. And wacky es más como chiflado, ¿no? It's like fun crazy. Porque, claro, si yo te digo, you're crazier than a shithouse rat, eso significa estás como una cabra, estás mal. But if I say you're kooky or you're wacky, it's more chiflado, ¿no? Para reírse contigo, no temerte. Right? Again, otra vez, cada uno tiene un poco su propio peso, como decimos, right? So crazy. And obviously crazy is the one we hear the most. But we've got insane, mad, raving mad. Me encanta este batty. Yeah, batty, como un murciélago chocando con las paredes. He's batty. Crackers, bonkers, nutty or nuts. Kooky, esa la sabes de they're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. Okay, you're mental. Man, you are mental. You are insane. You are unhinged. Ahora, unhinged es una puerta sin bisagras. So esa sí que es negativa. If somebody says, man, this guy's unhinged, it means está mal de la cabeza. But if you say he's kooky or he's wacky, it can be the nice way of saying chiflado, I think would be a good translation. Screwball. You're a screwy. Mi abuelo, hablando de mi abuelo, wow. Muchos shout outs a mi abuelo. My grandpa used to love that one. This guy's screwy. He's got a screw loose. Es tuerca. Don't you say the same thing? Right? Same kind of idea, right? This guy is screwy. He's a screwball. Pero también screwball lo usamos para hablar de estas comedias. Es un género de películas. I love screwball comedies. Y esos son comedias de tontacos, de chiflados, right? So these are just some over here. Obviously, then you've got more that are more like senseless, sin sentido, like this guy's irrational. He's insane. He's moronic, right? Idiotic. Esto es como tonto estúpido, right? So again, I'm looking at right here in front of my face. I have about 60 different adjectives that mean crazy. Again, they each have their own weight. Cada uno tiene su propio peso. All right, psycho. Si yo te digo, this guy is psycho, that means he's out of his mind. Esa no es positiva. Nunca. You are psycho, man. So great, Born to Iron Man. Good usage, right? Buen uso. Wacky, chiflado. Perfecto. The Show with No Name is the best wacky show you can enjoy. Number 2, I wish AA was rolling in it. Someday, thanks to it. Not thanks to this, but excellent. To be rolling in it, estás forrado, estás rodando en tu dinero. O sea, tienes tanto que estás rodando en ello. So to be rolling in it, excellent. And the last one, come on, make up your mind, decídete, and follow the show. Excellent job. All right, well, folks, I can't believe it. We've got to hit a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the second half of today's show, so stick around. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the kooky, wacky Show with No Name. Also, some synonyms for rich, ya que estamos, hemos visto algunos. You're well-heeled, well-to-do, affluent. You're well-off, filthy rich, rolling in it, wealthy. Esa palabra también lo usamos para decir una abundancia sin la Y. A wealth of knowledge. So I'm looking at another 20 or 30 synonyms for rich. You don't need to know them all. I mean, being familiar with them is great because then you know, bueno, si quiero decirlo de forma ofensiva, lo diría así. You know, it's like, I think of the opposite. You call somebody a cheapskate, eres un rata, tío. Agarrado, you say. Eres un rata. But if you say that somebody is thrifty, son ahorrativos. O sea, van al súper y nunca pagan el precio total de las cosas. So again, it's not just knowing the words, it's knowing, what's the difference between kooky and psycho? Well, if you like somebody, you wouldn't call them psycho. Psychotic, right? Psycho. Como la película de, what's his name? Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, that guy. So as always, we're playing with words, we're learning, we're laughing, and interacting here on the Show with No Name. Y como habéis visto, ninguno de mis gerundios lleva la G. Why? I'm an American. We don't use the G. It's too uncomfortable using that G. All right, are you ready to play? Let's do it. It's time for Homophones on the Show with No Name.
Homophones on the the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. 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 Show with no name. Show with no name.
That's right, folks. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And as always, I'm going to give you a bunch of different words here. Well, not really. I'm going to give you 2 words, but with a bunch of different meanings, I should say. Now, this first word, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it. All right. So the first meaning is aparecerse. But we're talking about a ghost. Okay. Un fantasma, no una persona. Okay. Pero también lo usamos para decir, piénsalo, piensa que un recuerdo, a memory, te persigue, te obsesiona. Pues lo mismo, ¿no? Es como un fantasma que no te deja, ¿no? Está ahí persiguiéndote. So you can kind of link those 2 ideas, right? Y si sabes decir casa encantada, pues esa palabra está ahí con una ed, ¿ok? El adjetivo de esa palabra. So it is aparecerse. Okay, hay un fantasma que aparece en esa casa, okay, que encanta esa casa, I guess. Now, I remember I had a student tell me, so should I say, para encantado esta palabra? I'm like, no, eso es otro encantado. Encantado de conocerte, it's nice to meet you. esto es otro. All right, so also again, it can be like, oh man, su voz me persigue. Me obsesiona los recuerdos, ¿no? Also, this could be a double or a triple trouble because it also is a place that you usually frequent. Okay, so un lugar favorito, un lugar que sueles frecuentar. And it's also the verb, frecuentar. O sea, piénsalo, eres un fantasma que sigue frecuentando, apareciéndote. Okay? So again, same idea behind all of the good thing that there are many meanings, but all the meanings are kind of linked in a certain way there, okay? And the second word is cazar, o buscar, o caza, all right? So cazar, we talk about it cuando estás buscando trabajo, the job, la búsqueda de trabajo, right? So it's not only used for, pobre ciervos, si vas a hacer la caza literal, but like many other words, it's used in different incarnations. And we'll take a look at them, as we always do, just to make sure you get the whole word completely, the whole idea behind the word, I should say. So the first one, as I said, encantar, frecuentar. The second one is cazar. También es una cacería. Buscar. So again, the idea behind it is still the same as well, even though it's used in many different incarnations. Those are your homophones. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Let me also give you the Say What soundbite now for the 3rd time.
Don't get cute, Alice. Don't get cute. I'm going to ask you several clear questions, and I want some clear answers. First question. Were we or were we not in a supermarket?
Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughn Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughn Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughn.com or give us a call, 911 385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughntown. That's right, folks. Vaughntown. It is a life-changing event. I'm telling you because I know many students who have gone, and really it is a turning point, un punto de inflexión in your English journey. So if you're interested in going there and hearing all different accents and speaking with people and conversing and, getting lost in different conversations, I mean, it is just a truly amazing experience. It's called Vaughntown, and you can get more information about it on our website, which is grupovaughn.com. All right, let's take a look over here at what we've got going on. I'm going to scroll through the comments over here. We've got Laura checking in. Hello, Laura. Welcome aboard. She says, "Good morning, lovely show with no namers. I can finally join you live for a while. Better late than ever. And I've missed you." Well, we missed you too, Laura. Welcome back. Great to have you on board for today's show. Let's see. Laura's also participating in our homophones section, and she gives us the two words correctly, and she says they're not homophones. All right. Chris Valrol gives us the two words as well, and she agrees. She says they're not homophones either. There's German checking in. What's up, buddy? He says, "Morning, guys. And are not homophones." And Born to Iron Man agrees as well. So nobody thinks these words are homophones? Nobody at all? Well, good. They're not. So the first word is haunt, on. Vamos a decirlo, haunt. Okay? And as I said, there's a ghost that haunts that house. It's a haunted house. But the memory of her voice haunts me, me persigue, me obsesiona, especially when I go to her favorite haunts, los sitios que ella frecuenta. Okay? Haunt. H-A-U-N-T. Haunt. On. It's a weird sound because it doesn't exist in Spanish. You don't have that vowel sound. So haunt. Haunt rhymes with taunt. Do you know the word to taunt somebody? It's like to tease, burlarse, mofarse. Are you taunting me or haunting me? Okay, so haunt. And the second word is hunt. Hunt. ¿Ves? Parecido, pero no. So hunt. Okay, so he's a hunter. But also, as I said, it's not just used for that. A lot of times, if somebody's looking for a job, you tell them, "Hey, man, how is the job hunt going? ¿Cómo va la búsqueda de trabajo?" We also talk about a witch hunt, una cacería, right? Like the Salem witch trials, a witch hunt, right? That's another way we say it, hunt, H-U-N-T, okay? And if we use it with cazar animales, por ejemplo, you say, I'm hunting for ducks, okay? So hunt. We also have the phrasal verb to hunt down, okay? Te lo doy en contexto y lo vas a saber en un segundo. Police are hunting down the suspect. To hunt down, encontrar, capturar, perseguir, cazar, right? So it's got many, many uses there, not just, somebody with a gun going into the forest chasing Bambi, right? But it also has many other ones. La caza también, vas en busca de ligar. Oh, you guys are on the hunt, huh? On the hunt is another way to say it. So hunt es la segunda, and haunt es la primera. So excellent job to all our amigos who got it right. But now it's time to move on to our question of the week.
Question of the week.
All right, folks. Well, this week's question of the week is, how do you try? Porque digo try, porque a veces queremos inspirar a alguien, pero no sale. But how do we try? ¿Cómo pretendes? No? What is your way of trying to inspire the people around you? And we got some really wonderful answers today here in this section. So let's see. We're going to start with our movie queen, Chris Valrol.
Morning, show with no namers.
Morning.
Chris Barrell speaking. One of my goals in life is to live and act with coherence.
To live and act with coherence, coherencia. Muy bien, la H se pronuncia y lo has pronunciado perfectamente, coherence.
I don't always succeed, but in many ways I do.
Do any of us always succeed? Nah.
So I believe I inspire people with both my actions and my words.
I can tell you, you do. And I'm sure your fellow students will second the motion.
Even unintentionally. And I'm sure I do, because some people have told me so. It always surprises me, because sometimes I simply tell someone an anecdote or something that happened to me, either on a whim or because I want to help them. And I ended up becoming a source of inspiration.
Awesome.
Which is fulfilling in a way. Thank you. Bye bye.
I feel you, Chris. Es que te entiendo. Because, you're trying to inspire people, but, you're doing what you can. You're also a human. And you don't know how many people have told me, hey, Alberto, I found my perfect job because of what you said. Or I'm finally in a relationship where I feel loved and I feel fulfilled because of something you said. And you know what the crazy part is? At least in my case, Chris, maybe it's even in your case too. Half the time, no, 90% of the time, I don't even remember what I said. But all I did was listen and then spoke from the heart. So, but I know a teacher who used to work at Vaughan, Mike Bryan. I still remember. And, he was having trouble with this girl. And, he was like, I don't know. And he came to me. He confided in me. We didn't know each other very, very well. I mean, we're decent friends, but, not best buds or anything. And I said, let's go grab a beer, man. And, you can kind of, let me know your situation. And if I can help, I will. And I don't know what I said. But you know what? He ended up marrying this girl. They have 2 lovely children. And he told Kyle, or a mutual friend of mine, he said, hey, Mike said the reason he married his wife and, was because of you. And I'm like, me? What did I say? And he goes, I don't know, but you said the right thing. And that's not the first time. That's happened to me many, many times. But also, it's not just about giving advice. It's about listening, right? Opening up your ear and your heart and saying, okay, someone's coming to me with an issue. And even though maybe it's not what you do, you're just kind of, giving them the best possible advice that you can at the moment off the top of your head. No, sin pensar. I'm not a psychiatrist or a love doctor or some kind of relationship expert, but I told him exactly what he needed to hear based on what he told me. And that has happened to me numerous times. So I imagine, Chris, it's kind of like that too. You're just like, well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to speak from the heart here, and I hope it helps. Obviously, if you always do that with the best of intentions, well, then you're always going to lead people in the right direction. So, Chris, as I said, there's no doubt in any of our minds that you are truly an inspiration as a student and as a person. And we are very thankful to have you with us on board, Chris. All right, we've got another student who has also been participating a lot lately, and I'm extremely proud of him, and I love his name. It's Alberto.
Hi, this is Alberto speaking.
What's up?
The question of this week is really tough to answer due to the fact it's quite challenging talking about yourself and your actions.
Yeah, true.
Firstly, I must admit how difficult it is to inspire someone around you.
Yeah, it is difficult. No difficult, difficult. No cult, right? So it's difficult. It's difficult to inspire yourself sometimes or find the inspiration.
Although I'm going to share what I try to do with my students.
Mhm.
I'm a secondary physical education teacher.
Physical education, se puede decir phys ed o PE también. Ya sabes que nos encantan esos atajos. Oh, cool, Alberto. I didn't know that about you. So not only, guys, are you guys expressing yourselves in English, but we're getting to know you even better. Alberto's a PE teacher.
And for inspiring teenagers, I try to set an example and practice what I preach. In my opinion, actions speak louder than words.
To practice what you preach, eso es liderar, ¿no? Enseñar, demostrar a alguien algo con el ejemplo, ¿no? Don't just say do this, but you actually do it. Y nos dio otra expresión súper buena. Actions speak louder than words. Cualquier persona que tiene hijos sabe eso. Your kid is not listening to what you say, they're watching what you do. So if you say, I love everybody, and then you treat everybody like shit, guess what? That's what the kid's going to see. That's what anybody's going to see. So your actions, buenísima expresión. We say actions speak louder than words. Alberto, you sound great. Let's continue.
And this is why I'm going to give you some examples to you related to this. Imagine if I tell them to lead a healthy lifestyle and they see me smoking, eating unhealthy,
Absolutely.
or putting on weight. This would be incoherent, and coherence is a must when it comes to teaching and inspiring kids.
Absolutely.
Secondly, bumping into former students is a profoundly validating experience for any educator. Being acknowledged by a student
Acknowledged. Yeah, es como la palabra knowledge, aunque know es saber, knowledge. Es una A.
year later serves as a pay rise for the soul,
Absolutely.
often providing more motivation than any formal award. Okay, this is all for today. Have fun. Bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Better than any salary is seeing your students inspired. Believe me, I know. All right, Alberto, you sounded great. And what lucky students you have. What lucky students you have to have such a wonderful teacher and person in their presence. I'm sure they know it too. All right. Up next, we've got Cristina Chicago. She is a ball of energy. Let's see what she has to say.
Good morning, Alberto. 7 a.m.
I told
I'm here
you.
at school.
Te lo dije.
Very windy, very cold, but the hope is coming. The end of the tunnel is coming.
You can see that light at the end of the tunnel.
It's end of February, so I think this will improve sooner than later. Okay, so for the question of the week, what is the best way to preach? And when I'm saying this, I'm saying because I'm a mom. I'm a person,
A teacher.
and of course, I'm a teacher.
Right.
So I think the best way to preach and show the kids what to do is not only with your words, but also with your actions.
Absolutely.
What is the point of just standing there and talk to the kids? No matter if you are my kids or any kids that are in the classroom.
Talk is cheap, decimos.
And just say, well, you have to do these and these and these, and then you just close the door and just leave and don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a role model.
A role model. A role model leads by example, as Chris is pointing out.
So what I'm saying is that if you tell them, for example, I tell them hey, you need to volunteer and you need to be a good person. Kindness is the first thing that you have to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I don't do it and I'm a mean
You look
teacher,
hypocritical.
And what is the point? They won't get it.
De que sirve?
So I think, both are related and they have to go together, like preaching with your words, like Martin Luther King, and also, show them, with your actions. And that's all. Love you.
All right. Awesome. We got some teachers here, huh? You guys know that a teacher's job is to educate, to teach, but overall, to inspire their students to continue learning even when they're gone, when they're not in their class anymore. All right, excellent job. We're going to hear from some more students in the fourth and final part of the show, but why don't we go with a little bit of double trouble. Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble. That's right. Now, I hope you guys were listening carefully because, well, our friend Christina Chicago just said, well, she just gave you a huge clue in today's double trouble. She did it unwittingly. So she had no idea that she did it. But if you were paying attention, then I think today's double trouble will be that much easier. All right, here we go. ¿Me lo dices o me lo cuentas? Vamos, que lo sé muy bien lo que me estás contando, ¿no? Me lo sé muy bien, me sé esta charla. ¿Me lo dices o me lo cuentas? El coro tiene que practicar más. If you guys were listening, Chris just said it. Like seconds ago. And Chris, call it fate. Call it serendipity, no? El destino. That what you were saying is today's double trouble. So, ¿me lo dices o me lo cuentas? Como me sé esta historia muy bien. El coro tiene que practicar más. All right, that is today's double trouble. As always, you've got to use the same word twice. I'll give you a clue. The first part is an idiomatic expression that most of you already know. And the second part is quite literal. El coro tiene que practicar más. So we'll take a look at that and much more. But right now, we have got to take a quick commercial break. I can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun with your amigos. When we come back, we'll take a look at our double trouble answer. We'll listen to our Say What soundbite for the fourth time. We'll also hear from some other students. I'll tell you their names right now. Anix, Born to Iron Man, and Nuria up next. Plus, we've got jokes, famous birthdays, name that lyric, and so much more. Tons of fun up ahead. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the fourth and final part of today's show with no name. Stay tuned, because after today's program, you've got tons of amazing shows that are designed to teach you English and inspire you. Oh yeah, definitely. You've got Speaking with Confidence with Ale. After that, you've got the Lunchtime Show, eso es, with Rob Grams. You've got Speak Up. No. Speak Up. Let's Get Random with Jules Linares. Speak English with Ruby. Es que le cambiaron el nombre del programa. Y en mi cabeza sigue igual. You've also got the wacky Dave Boys in the Salad. You've got the Drive Time Show. They're repeats, as you know. But you can still learn with Kyle for the time being, por ahora, on the Drive Time Show. You've also got Chris Frank and Frankly Speaking. Richard Vaughn Live. The Pro Bow Show. Jessica Fernandez and the Hour to Empower. And Fitz's Masterclass, No Excuses. So download the Vaughn Radio app and learn English with us anywhere and everywhere. All right, folks, we've got tons to do here in the last part of today's show. So let me give you the Say What soundbite for the fourth time. Now, I thought somebody was going to be able to get it. It didn't seem too difficult to me today, but I could be wrong because nobody has figured it out yet. All right, well, this is your last chance.
Don't get cute, Alice. Don't get cute. I'm going to ask you several clear questions, and I want some clear answers. First question. Were we or were we not in a supermarket?
¿Te gustaría abrir puertas a nuevas oportunidades y estar listo para cualquier desafío? Con el máster de inglés del Grupo Vaughan podrás transformar tu futuro. Este programa intensivo te ayudará a dominar el inglés profesional, perfeccionar tu comunicación y ganar la confianza que necesitas para conseguir tus objetivos. Nuestros profesores Vaughan especializados te prepararán para afrontar en inglés todas las situaciones de comunicación en un entorno profesional. No dejes que el inglés sea una barrera. Invierte en tu futuro con el máster de inglés profesional del Grupo Vaughan. Llámanos al 91-133-5833 o entra en grupovaughan.com.
That's right, folks. It is grupovaughn.com, and you can find out about Masters, Disney Vaughn English, one-to-one classes, video conference classes, group classes, Vaughn Town, and anything else that we offer. Just go to grupovaughn.com and or follow us on social media. All right, let's go on over here to our chat room and see what you guys have to say. Let's see, where did we leave off over here? Laura says, you put your money where your mouth is. Well done, Alberto. To put your money where your mouth is means to not just talk the talk, but to also walk the walk, que es otra forma de decirlo. Put your money where your mouth is apuesta, si eres tan seguro. Demuéstralo, right? It's another way of saying prove it, if you're so sure of it. So put your money where your mouth is. Great one. German says, Alberto and Tina, I love your energy, guys. Yeah, really. Cristina, Chicago. Guys, and let me remind you, that was 7 a.m. a las 7 de la mañana. You know what? We're going to have to do a question of the week, which is going to be, tell us your morning routine. And I am really eager to hear Cristina Chicago's. Born to Iron Man says, Cristina Chicago talks as fast as a rocket. Es lo que tiene vivir en Estados Unidos, I think. You know, she's surrounded by people speaking quickly. So she has, as I said, imitated what she hears. Again, we are creatures of our environment, and she sounds great. And again, that confidence she has is incredible. So, to all of you, keep it up. Seguid así. Let's see, Laura. Laura says, regarding our double trouble, you're preaching to the choir. The choir has to rehearse more. Yes. So you're preaching to the choir as yo ya me sé esta charla. ¿No? Piensa the priest or the pope, el papa, turning to the choir and saying, hoy vamos a ver la Biblia. And they're like, we already know this one. We're here every day. we know this, right? So it's like, you're telling somebody something that is evident to them that they already know. You're preaching to the choir. Y esa palabra choir es un poco chungo porque tiene CH, pero no es choir. No, it's choir. Vamos a decirlo todos, choir. And then she says the choir has to rehearse more. Absolutely. Now, we can also say the word chorus para un choir, ¿no? Es un sinónimo, pero chorus también puede ser el estribillo de una canción. So, excellent job, Laura. Let's see. Chris va al rol as well. She says, you're preaching to the choir. The choir needs to practice more. Excellent job. Como me lo sé ya. Esto lo sé. ¿No? Me lo dices o me lo cuentas. All right, let's see over here. We've got a few people participating in our Say What soundbite. Laura and Chris Valrol. Great job, ladies. We'll be taking a look at that in just a little bit to see how close you were, but they look right to me. Well, Chris is missing a word there, but don't worry. As I said, the idea here and in every section we do every day is do the best you can. All right, so excellent job, Laura and Chris, in our Say What soundbite. Let's hear it for the boy. Well, in this case, let's hear it for the girls. Un aplauso para las chicas. Es una canción de los 80. Pero es Let's Hear It for the Boy. Pero yo lo he cambiado. Let's hear it for the girls. All right, well, folks, that's our double trouble done and dusted. We're going to finish up our question of the week now, and we're going to hear from a student who always participates and is always inspiring us week after week. I'm talking about Anix.
Morning. This is Anix.
Morning.
Well, when it comes to inspiring others, to be honest, I've always felt a bit awkward.
Awkward, incómoda.
Being in the spotlight.
En el foco, in the spotlight. Great vocabulary, Anix.
I don't really like being seen as an example or something. But since I'm working with kids, I just try to live by the idea that actions speak louder than words.
Me ha encantado cómo has pronunciado kids. No has dicho kids. No sabes las veces que he oído kids. O sea, cuando dices kids, it's music to my ears. Excellent. Yeah, that's another thing. Anix is saying, well, some people are role models, but they don't want to be. I think of like a Kurt Cobain or an Eminem. They're like, yeah, people follow me and look at what I do, but I don't want that. I just want to play music, But you can't, once you're famous, once people look up to you, it's too late. You can't separate one from the other, which is usually a problem. Why? But then again, that's why you can get role models from other areas, right? I never think a famous actor should be a role model unless maybe you want to be an actor. Or, I think, there are so many other role models. My greatest, my grandpa was my greatest role model, not Matthew McConaughey. Although Matthew McConaughey, if you see him in an interview, he's got a good head on his shoulders, it seems. All right, let's continue with Anix.
So in the end, I just focus on showing them through what I do, not just what I say. Okay, guys. Bye bye.
Leading by example. No? We say you lead by example. So you make sure that your actions are the actions of somebody who is trying to inspire people. And Anix, I can tell you, I don't know what the kids, que lo has pronunciado perfectamente, but I know here on the show, you're always inspiring us. So keep up the great work. Up next, speaking of inspirational people, this guy shows you that the limits, well, are the sky. Como la expresión es, the sky's the limit. And I'm talking about Born to Iron Man.
Hiya, folks.
Hello.
This is BTI. I try to inspire the people around me through the things I commit to every day.
Commit to, comprometerme a.
Training for events like the Ironman Triathlon.
No events, sino events. Events. Es una palabra que se suele pronunciar mal. Events. El estrés está en otro sitio.
Has taught me that progress doesn't come from one big moment, but from small efforts repeated over time. That's perseverance.
Perseverance. Bueno, tú has elegido estas palabras difíciles, amigo. Yo te ayudo. Perseverance. So the verb is to persevere.
Swimming when it's hard, cycling long distances, and running when your legs feel heavy. Those moments build discipline and resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I share the mindset with others around me.
Mindset, mentalidad, great word.
I want people to see that it's possible to push your limits step by step.
And you do.
If it's sports like triathlon training.
Triathlon. You say triathlon, right? Triathlon. Esa la tienes que saber, eh?
Or reading books or improving my English, I try to show that learning and growth never stop. I like to encourage others to try.
Encourage.
Even when the situation feels difficult. If my journey can motivate someone to start their own and believe in themselves, then I feel I'm doing something meaningful. Ciao, friends.
You are, buddy. You are doing something meaningful. You're an inspiration to all of us who say, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. It's too early. Or, oh, I don't want to do, 5 kilometers on the treadmill in La Cinta de Correr. You're like, really? Really? No excuses. So Born to Iron Man, you are definitely one of those people that leads by example. And your children are very lucky because of that. So excellent job. All right. Last, but certainly not least, it's Nuria.
Morning, Alberto and
Hello.
namers. This is Nuria. Regarding this week's question, I don't know if I can inspire others.
You do.
In order to help them somehow to learn to change their mindset when things seem to be very difficult.
Easier said than done, como decimos, right? Entre el dicho y el hecho.
Because it's possible to feel good in almost any situation.
Mm-hmm.
That we are sometimes in the same boat. We are in the same difficult circumstances.
Yeah, we all have fears, hopes, dreams, right?
And we have to look to the bright side.
Look on the bright side.
There's always a way out. As the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way.
Querer es poder. Where there's a will, there's a way.
I put a lot of effort into everything I do. I put in everybody's shoes, and I'm all ears. If this helps to inspire others, I feel very proud of myself. Take care, amigos. Thank you.
Lo único, I put myself in other shoes, ¿no? En vez de I put myself, que es un reflexivo, but Nuria, we don't doubt it for a second. Now, thanks to all of you who participated for taking the time to share that with us and keep up the wonderful work. All of you are improving your spoken English more than most people I know in this country. So keep it up. All right, it's time, though. We're going to one of my favorite places, the movies. Name that movie. That's right, amigos. It is Name That Movie here on the show with no name. All right, let's take a look at today's Name That Movie and see if you recognize it. A team of commandos on a mission in a Central American jungle find themselves hunted. We looked at this word, not haunted, hunted by an extraterrestrial warrior. Oh, wow. That just took a turn. So a team of commandos, military commandos, on a mission in a Central American jungle, find themselves, lo decís igual, se encuentran en tal situación, hunted, cazados, by an extraterrestrial warrior, un guerrero extraterrestre, right? So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's take a look at the scene in the meantime. Dutch, the character Dutch, says, "What's got Billy so spooked? ¿Qué es lo que le tiene a Billy tan con miedo?" If you're spooked or spooked out, it means something is spooky. Spooky means scary. They're creepy and they're spooky, mysterious and spooky. No me acuerdo del orden, pero ahí viene. O sea, estamos viendo mucho los Addams Family today. So what's got you so spooked? ¿Qué te tiene con tanto miedo? I'm spooked out because this jungle is spooky. ¿No? Así lo vemos todo en contexto. And Max says, "Can't say, Major." Major es una posición en la mili. He's been acting squirrely all morning. Now, a squirrel is, you say, una ardilla. And how do squirrels, have you ever observed squirrels? They're nervous, they're fidgety, they're restless, inquietos, nerviosos. So he's been acting squirrely all morning. That damn nose of his, it's weird. Ese maldito nariz que tienes, es raro. And Dutch says, "What is it?" "Billy, what the hell is wrong with you? ¿Qué demonios te pasa?" And Billy says, "There's something in those trees. Hay algo en esos árboles." And Dutch says, "Do you see anything?" And Billy says, "Up there, ahead, más adelante." And Dutch says, "Nothing. What do you think? ¿Qué opinas?" And Billy says, "Well, I guess it's nothing, Major." All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a winner. Our movie queen, Chris Valrol. The movie is Predator. That's right, Predator. You say depredador. Nosotros no ponemos la DE delante. Predator, which is a movie that stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers as well, who played Apollo Creed. Can you believe that Predator came out in 1987? I don't even want to count how many years ago that was, but that was a long time ago. All right, my amigos, there you go. It is our Name That Movie. Wonderful job, Chris. We've got to move on, though. It's time for famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Famous birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
All right. Here we go. Today's famous birthdays. Number one, this guy was born in 1943, an American director and actor. And, well, he was known for directing a lot of films that dealt with the Black American experience. It's not Spike Lee. I think it was the guy who inspired Spike Lee. And this guy's been in many movies as well. He was in the movie Car Wash. He was also in Commando. He was in Predator. You mean today's Name That Movie? Yes. He was also in American Gigolo, Bird on a Wire, X-Men, The Last Stand, and so much more. And his last name is Duque. If you know how to say Duque, then you've got it. The next guy's last name is Efectivo or Metálico. And this guy was an American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and actor who got his start in the choir. That's right, in Arkansas. He was in the church choir. And, well, this love of gospel music turned him into one of the most prolific singer-songwriters ever, even though his music was more country music, but his original inspiration was gospel. And they nicknamed him the Man in Black because he always wore black. And many of his songs, I Walk the Line, Ring of Fire, A Boy Named Sue, esa es buenísima. And last but not least, this guy was born today in 1916, and he was really, really famous for playing Ralph Cramden in the TV show The Honeymooners. But this guy, man, he really was a wonderful actor, producer. In fact, they called him the Great One. That's right. He was even a composer. And, well, he was in The Hustler with Paul Newman. He was in Smokey and the Bandit with Burt Reynolds. And as I said, I think the whole world knew who this guy was because he played Ralph Cramden in The Honeymooners. No sé si ese sitcom era muy popular, but it was really, really popular in the mid-50s through to 1970. So it was definitely one of those first really popular sitcoms. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your classmate, Chris Valrol. Number 1, Bill Duke. Factura Duque, Bill Duke. Number 2, Juanito Efectivo, Johnny Cash. And number 3, Jackie Gleason. And that's going to bring us right over to our Say What soundbite today. This is Jackie Gleason, and this is him in the movie, in the sitcom, The Honeymooners. Okay, it was called The Honeymooners, and it was about him and his wife and their neighbors. And he was a bus driver. Él era autobusero. Seguro que el nombre era un poco diferente. ¿No eran los lunas de mieles? I don't know. I don't know. Well, in this scene, he's yelling at his wife, which this character always did that. And now in retrospect, you're like, that's not cool. But again, we're talking about something from a different time, a different galaxy away. And he says, don't get cute, Alice. Don't get cute. No te pongas listilla. Don't get cute. Don't get cute, Alice. Alice was his wife's name. I'm going to ask you several clear questions. Okay, te voy a hacer algunas preguntas clarísimas. And I want some clear answers. Y quiero respuestas claras. First question, were we or were we not in a supermarket? So great job to Laura and Chris Valrol. Here he is, the great one, como le llamaban, Jackie Gleason.
Don't get cute, Alice. Don't get cute. I'm going to ask you several clear questions, and I want some clear answers. First question, were we or were we not in a supermarket?
All right, folks. Wonderful job today. Excellent job. What can I say except keep up the great work? I want to urge you all to participate in next week's question of the week. Tell us what a typical weekend is like for you. Do you like to sleep in, or are you one of those people with that get up and go, hay que moverse, like my daughter? So during the week, I have to wake my daughter up, right, to get her to school. But on the weekends, she wakes me up. And I always tell her, honey, we got to flip it. Hay que hacerlo al revés. And she's like, yeah, right. So, hey, tell us a little bit about your average or typical weekend. And as always, we look forward to hearing from all of you. We're going to say goodbye with an amazing song. It's A Boy Named Sue by birthday boy Johnny Cash. And this is a song that came out in 1969. And yeah, you're thinking, un niño que se llama Sue, pues ahí está la gracia. Dice que, they were always taunting him, para ver la palabra que vimos antes, taunt, ¿no? Vacilando, que rima con haunt. They were always taunting him in this story that he wrote because his father named him Sue. Yeah, that is cruel, isn't it? All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and have an awesome day. Well, my daddy left home.
Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me, just this old